We live in a world where money feels invisible. It's just a tap of a card, a click on a screen, a monthly subscription that vanishes from your account without you even noticing. It's seamless, it's convenient, and honestly, it's a little bit dangerous for our wallets. I started to wonder, what would happen if I stripped all of that away? What if I went back to basics? So I decided to run an experiment. For 10 full days, I committed to using cash only. No credit cards, no debit cards, no Apple Pay, no online shopping, no apps, nothing. Just cold, hard cash. And what I discovered wasn't just interesting, it was genuinely shocking. The way I thought about and spent money completely transformed in less than 2 weeks. This simple change had a massive impact. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened day by day and share the 5 powerful lessons I learned. Trust me, you might want to try this yourself after you hear my story. First things first, I had to figure out how much cash I would actually need for 10 days. This was the first challenge. Usually, I just spend as I go. But with cash, you have to plan ahead. I sat down and made a realistic budget for groceries, gas, my daily coffee, and a small buffer for unexpected things. I went to the ATM and pulled out a stack of bills. Holding that physical money in my hand already felt different. It felt real, finite. It wasn't just a number on a screen anymore, it was a tangible resource that I had to manage carefully. The first couple of days were a real adjustment. I'd walk into a store and automatically reach for my wallet to pull out my card, only to remember my challenge. That simple act of stopping myself and pulling out cash instead was a powerful mental reset. And that brings me to the very first and maybe the most important lesson I learned. Cash makes you feel the spend. There's a psychological phenomenon called the pain of paying. When you physically hand over bills that you've earned, it registers in your brain as a small loss. It hurts a little bit. And you know what? That pain is a feature, not a bug. With a card, you just tap and go. The transaction is so abstract that you barely register the cost. But when I had to count out $20, $40, $60 for groceries and watch that cash leave my hand, it felt significant. I felt every single dollar. That little sting made me pause and think before each purchase. Suddenly, I was asking myself, is this item really worth $5? Is this coffee worth handing over this bill for? It's a completely different emotional experience than tapping a piece of plastic. This pain of paying became my new financial advisor, and it was brutally honest. This leads directly to my second discovery. My impulse spending dropped to almost zero, and it happened fast. And we've all been there. It's late at night, you're scrolling on your phone, and an ad pops up for something you never knew you needed. 2 clicks later, it's on its way to your house. Or you're waiting in line at the grocery store, and that candy bar or magazine just calls your name. With digital payments, these impulse buys are frictionless. But when you're on a cash-only diet, that friction is your best friend. I couldn't make any late-night online orders. If I was out and about and saw something I wanted, I had to ask myself a simple question. Do I have the cash for this in my pocket right now? And 9 times out of 10, the answer was no. I hadn't budgeted for random snacks or quick treats or that cool gadget I saw in a window. And just like that, the temptation was gone. The barrier of not having the physical cash on me was enough to stop dozens of small, mindless purchases that would have normally chipped away at my bank account without a second thought. My spending became incredibly intentional almost overnight. The third major shift was that I became hyper-aware of prices. Let's be honest, digital payments hide the true cost of things. When the total rings up to $57.89, you tap your card, and the exact number doesn't really sink in. It's just around $60. But cash exposes the reality of that cost down to the very last cent. When you're using cash, your brain starts doing math automatically. You know you have a $20 bill in your pocket, so you start looking at prices differently. Okay, this sandwich is $8, the drink is $3, so that's $11. I'll get $9 back. You become a human calculator. You start comparing prices between brands, between stores. Is the name brand cereal really worth $2 more than the store brand when you have to hand over physical bills for it? This constant low-level mental accounting made me a much smarter shopper. I was no longer just a passive consumer. I was an active participant in every single transaction, fully aware of where every dollar was going. It's like a fog was lifted, and I could suddenly see the financial landscape with perfect clarity. It was empowering. This new awareness led me to the 4th lesson. I started planning my spending so much better. A cash-only life forces you to think ahead. Before I left the house, I had to think about what my day looked like. Am I going to need money for lunch? Am I stopping for gas? I take only the cash I needed for those specific tasks. This eliminated the possibility of spontaneous, unplanned spending sprees. It also made me question my habits. I started asking, do I really need to buy lunch today, or can I pack something from home and save that $15? Is this trip to the store absolutely necessary, or can it wait until my planned grocery run on Saturday? The need to have the right amount of cash on hand forced a level of intentionality that I just didn't have before. It wasn't about restriction, it was about making conscious choices. Instead of my spending happening to me, I was telling my money exactly where to go. It was a complete shift from a reactive to a proactive mindset. And now for the most ironic and surprising discovery of all, lesson number 5. Using cash actually made saving money easier and faster. You'd think that dealing with physical money would be cumbersome, but it had the opposite effect on my savings. Because I was feeling every purchase, because my impulse spending was gone, and because I was planning every expense, I was naturally spending far, far less. At the end of the 10 days, I looked at the cash I had left over from my initial budget. It was a significant amount, money that, in a normal 10-day period, would have just vanished. It would have been absorbed by 100 tiny, forgotten digital transactions. But now, here it was, a tangible pile of cash that I had saved simply by changing the way I paid. Seeing that physical proof of my savings was incredibly motivating. It wasn't just a number in a savings app, it was real money I could hold. This created a positive feedback loop. The more I saved, the more I wanted to save. So, after 10 days of living in the financial past, what's the final verdict? Living a cash-only life forever probably isn't practical for most of us in this digital age. We have bills to pay online, subscriptions we enjoy, and sometimes you just need the convenience of a card. But that wasn't the point of the experiment. The point was to reset my relationship with money, and it succeeded beyond my wildest expectations. Using cash revealed the powerful psychological truths about my spending habits that digital convenience had been hiding for years. It showed me just how much I was spending without even thinking. If you feel like your finances are a bit out of control, or if you just want to understand your own habits better, I cannot recommend this enough. You don't have to do it for 10 days. Try it for a weekend. Try it for 3 days. Try it for a week. Take out a set amount of cash and see what happens. I guarantee you will learn something profound about your relationship with money. You'll regain a sense of control and intentionality that is so easily lost in our tap-to-pay world. It might feel old school, but the lessons are timeless. Give it a try and let me know in the comments how it goes for you. It might just be the most valuable financial experiment you ever conduct. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one.